Every year, at the same point in time, something strange happens to humanity. Not something beautiful, not something sacred, something hollow. The world doesn't become kinder, it becomes louder. Lights invade streets that remain spiritually empty. Music repeats phrases about joy that no one truly feels. People smile not because they are happy, but because sadness would be inconvenient. This is not celebration, it is synchronization, a mass agreement to suspend reality. The end of the year is not a moment of reflection, it is a moment of denial. People are not gathering to honor life, they are gathering to avoid being alone with their thoughts. Because solitude, when honest, exposes what distraction hides. And this season is the greatest distraction humanity has ever normalized. Christmas once belonged to myth, to transcendence, to something beyond the material world. Now it belongs to logistics, credit limits, and marketing strategies. The sacred was replaced by the transactional. What was once symbolic became literal. What was once spiritual became financial. Today, Christmas does not ask who you are. It asks how much you can spend, and people obey without resistance. They confuse consumption with connection. They confuse gifts with presence. They confuse obligation with love. But nothing sacred survives obligation. True meaning cannot be forced by calendar dates. It cannot be bought, displayed, or scheduled. That is why this season feels so empty. Because deep down, people sense the lie. And instead of confronting it, they drown it in noise. Observe the behavior: excessive food, excessive alcohol, excessive stimulation. Nothing here is accidental. Excess is not celebration. Excess is avoidance. A body overloaded becomes quiet. A mind intoxicated stops questioning. A soul drowned in stimulation forgets its own voice. This is why moderation feels almost offensive during this season. Restraint is seen as coldness. Discipline is misinterpreted as rejection. Clarity is treated as arrogance. Because a restrained man is difficult to manipulate. A sober man sees too much. A rested man asks dangerous questions. A disciplined man does not need collective permission to exist. So excess is encouraged, not because it brings joy, but because it creates compliance. Then comes the turning of the calendar. Midnight arrives. Fireworks explode. People scream numbers into the void, as if time itself were listening, as if existence reset itself every 12 months. This belief is not naive. It is convenient. A man who believes in automatic renewal avoids responsibility. He delays difficult decisions. He postpones discipline. He believes change belongs to the future, not the present. The calendar becomes an excuse. But time does not redeem. Time only reveals. If you were weak yesterday, you will be weak tomorrow unless something changes within you. Dates do not transform character. Symbols do not erase patterns. Rituals do not replace action. The belief that they do is one of humanity's most persistent illusions. After the noise fades, reality returns. Quietly, without mercy. January does not arrive with hope. It arrives with consequences. Bills accumulate, energy collapses, motivation evaporates. People begin the year already tired, not from work, from excess. Debt tightens its grip. And debt is not merely financial. Debt is psychological. A man in debt lowers his standards. He tolerates more, he accepts less. He trades dignity for stability, silence for survival. This is why debt is powerful. It shapes behavior without force. And this cycle repeats every year. People call it normal. But normal does not mean healthy. Normal only means common. Throughout all of this, a silent pressure operates. The pressure to appear happy, appear grateful, appear successful. Social media amplifies the lie. Filtered images replace reality. Curated moments replace truth. No one displays emptiness. No one shares regret. No one uploads existential doubt. So everyone competes with illusions. And slowly, identity dissolves. People stop asking who they are. They ask how they look. They stop living inwardly. They perform outwardly. And performance, sustained long enough, kills authenticity. Because authenticity requires solitude. And solitude is exactly what this season avoids. When the celebrations end, silence emerges. And silence terrifies people. Because silence is not empty. It is revealing. In silence, unresolved questions surface. Unlived lives become visible. Compromises show their cost. This is why people rush back into distraction. Work, noise, consumption, anything but stillness. But stillness is where reality begins. Mystical traditions understood this. So did philosophers. So did ascetics. Silence is not absence. It is confrontation. And confrontation demands responsibility. Most people would rather remain distracted than awake. To see through this illusion is not to reject life. It is to stop living unconsciously. It means no longer letting dates dictate identity. No longer letting rituals replace reflection. No longer letting crowds decide meaning. It means participating without surrendering yourself. Choosing deliberately. Withdrawing selectively. Acting without performance. The world does not change when you awaken, but your relationship with it does. You stop running, you stop reacting, you stop seeking validation from systems that profit from your confusion. And something unexpected happens. Life becomes quieter, heavier, more honest, less comforting, but more real. The illusion of Christmas and New Year survives because it is familiar. Familiarity feels safe, even when it drains you. But repetition without awareness is not tradition. It is stagnation. The strongest individuals are not those who celebrate the loudest, but those who remain grounded when the noise collapses, when the lights turn off, when the promises fade, when only reality remains. Not happier, not euphoric, but awake. And awakening, unlike illusion, does not ask for permission. If this video reached you, then it did its job. Because content like this isn't made for algorithms. It's made for people who still think, still feel, still question. Just watching until the end already places you outside the average flow. Your attention is not nothing. It's rare. This channel exists to keep producing work that doesn't flatter illusions, doesn't sell comfort, and doesn't dilute truth. Becoming a channel member is one way to stand closer to that mission. It helps sustain deeper videos, longer reflections, and content that isn't shaped by trends or pressure. Membership isn't about status. It's about alignment, about choosing to support something that speaks what many feel but rarely hear. If you want to go a step further, using super thanks is a direct way of saying, "This mattered to me." It's not an obligation, and it's never expected. The truth is simple and honest. If you watch, reflect, and carry these ideas with you, you're already supporting the work in a meaningful way. Sharing the video, returning to the channel, staying present, all of that counts. Support is not measured only in money. It's measured in attention, in continuity, in presence. If you choose to become a member or use super thanks, know that it goes directly into keeping this space alive, independent, and uncompromised. And if you don't, but you're still here, still listening, still awake, that already says enough. Either way, you belong here.